Like many of you, we battled depression during life's ups and downs.
Music has always been the one thing that we could rely on to get us through the tough times that we all face.
Follow us on our journey as we discuss the healing power of music,
Interview bands,
break down genres,
review band biographies,
and more.
This is the When Words Fail
Music Speaks podcast
with Blake Mosley
and James Cox. Hey everybody, welcome to When Words Fail Music Speaks podcast. I'm your handicapped host, professional handicapped host, James Cox. And no, I am not the voice of the Scooter from the Muppets, nor have I ever was the voice for Scooter from the Muppets.
Yeah, you haven't gotten any of those royalties if you were.
Oh my God! Can you imagine how, if I did, I would
royalties, man. Like I haven't seen any YouTube money or TikTok money, and you haven't gotten any from the Muppets or Disney or anything.
Oh no!
What gifts? What does a guy have to do these days?
Speaking of, I'm sure many people don't know who you are. Could you tell them?
No, they probably don't.
Yeah,
they probably don't. My name is so I'm commonly referred to as the loudest guy in the room, but only when I'm playing the drums. I am your endless source of useless music knowledge. My name is Blake Mosley, but you can also call me Brosley.
And here at the When Words, we are the only people to call you Brosley.
Yes, you and our fine listeners are the only ones that tend to call me Brosley. So
hey, does Allie call you Brosley?
No.
She just calls you like babe or
she calls me Blake. She doesn't even call me babe.
That'll come later on. Yeah.
I call her babe, but she just refers to me as Blake. And it's fine, it's I think it might be weird if she called me babe.
Yeah, that's true.
I commonly refer to her as babe. I hardly ever call her Allie. And if I do, it's usually because we're in some form of argument. And I'm just like, Allie! I don't say it that forceful, but and then she knows that we're into something serious.
I'm sure arguments in your house is like, I want this, and they're like, okay, done. Right?
They tend to. They're usually pretty short lived.
Which is always a good thing.
I love it. Because I hate being in the situation where you're in an argument with somebody and they won't even freaking tell you what's wrong. They want you to figure it out. And I'm like, stop. I don't like to play that whole mind game thing. Tell me what's wrong so we can fix it. We can move on.
Yeah.
But I have dated people who have done that where they want you to figure out what you did wrong. And it's very stressful. I don't like that. If me and Allie are ever in an argument with each other, it's very short lived. And we just want to be done with it. Just brush it off and let's just keep rolling. So very thankful for that in our marriage. In our 3 years of marriage that we just celebrated our anniversary.
Oh yeah, because it was like 2 or 3 weeks ago, right?
Yeah. October 6th was our 3-year wedding anniversary.
Nice.
We at the time that this episode is coming out, I will actually be at Disney World with Allie celebrating our anniversary.
Nice.
So that'll be fun, man. Got some Halloween stuff coming up while we're there. Boo Bash at Disney is going to be fun. We're looking forward to being back home by Halloween. So hopefully last year we kind of all got robbed of Halloween in different capacities, but
yeah.
I'm hoping this year. I've never lived in a neighborhood where people actually trick or treated. So right. I am looking forward to actually having trick or treaters and passing out candy and all that. And I hope that's what we get. So
cool. Well, yeah. Well, you gotta make sure there's no razor blades in your candy before you hand them out.
I'll do my best. I'll make sure that I thoroughly search my apples and my candy before passing them out to said trick or treaters. And I can't make any promises, but I'll try my best to at least put an eye on them. How about that?
Nice.
Yeah.
So this is a music album, and you know how music album. This is a music podcast.
I wish it was an album. I wish we were recording an album.
Yes. Well, we might. I mean, you are a drummer, right?
One day. And maybe one day.
And I can try to learn how to sing because everybody can sing. It's just a matter of if you are willing to go push the effort into, which
Sure.
I am. So,
Right.
but you know how like vinyl music, right?
Right.
Okay. And I figured that since this is Scaretober, right?
Yeah.
Halloween time.
Yeah.
You see what I did there?
I like it. I like it.
So I've been wanting these two albums for a long time, and
Hmm.
these two albums are for my favorite bands of all time. And
Okay.
this is my all-time favorite band, Megadeth.
Ooh, yeah.
And I just
Okay.
bought this on eBay, and I paid I paid an ungodly amount of money. Not too much, for some people, or for me it is. But I just had this,
Yep.
and I figured it was Halloween because Vic Rattlehead is a skeleton,
That's right. Rust in Peace is a great album
Yes, sir. And he's doing something with the alien, which I'm sure
with an
they're
alien.
yeah.
Oh, and I've got UFOs on my shirt right now.
Yes, yes.
And this is a shout out to Robert. My buddy Robert gave me this shirt and Brian the same shirt whenever we were doing Not Religious. Allie won't let me wear it in public because on the back it says "Get in, loser. We're doing butt stuff."
we're we're
So
well, we're doing both stuff. Yeah. But if you turn in over in the back, you'll see the best lineup of Megadeth ever had. Had Nick Menza, Dave Ellefson, David Mustaine,
yeah,
and Marty Friedman.
yeah. David Ellison has been on the show.
Yes, he has one time, and we're trying real hard to get David Mustaine on here.
Ooh, that would be great.
Uh,
I like him a lot.
yeah, because unfortunately we can't get Nick Menza because he's not with us anymore. But the
Yep, yep.
second album I had to get was Metallica Reload,
Yeah,
and there's fire on the cover, so I figured that was more Halloween than anything else.
sure. Yeah, no, I'm with you. That's a great album. Underrated album, I feel like.
I do okay, so I love this album very much, but I do love Load a little bit more.
Sure.
It's just I mean just because of the sheer power of the songs.
Right. I
So
love The Memory Remains
yeah,
off
yeah,
of Reload. That's a
Reload,
great.
right? Yeah, yeah.
Yep.
King Nothing, Fuel, and The Memory Remains is like three
Yeah.
of my all time favorites from this album.
They
Um,
are
yeah,
bops,
yeah.
as the kids say.
I bought both of them on eBay. Well, no, I'm lying to you. I bought Reload off of Amazon and Rest in Peace off of eBay, just because
Okay.
you can't find them anymore because they're out of print. You know,
Right.
so I'm like, okay, well, why not? So I
Yeah.
got them now. Yeah, so um,
Very nice.
going on to you, you have some like like a big announcement.
Some big news, yeah. In relation to what this podcast is all about, I thought it would be cool to let everybody know that I actually started therapy last week. Um,
Woohoo!
and it has been I've only done one session so far. I've got another one in like 2 weeks. But one session in, and I was already looking forward to the next one. I just think it was very enlightening. And you know, we're working on figuring out how to manage my expectations about certain things when it comes to my day-to-day life. Trying to learn how to love myself a little bit more because I struggle with that big time, and a few more things that we're trying to work out. So um, it's been great so far. I'm really looking forward to the next session. And for growing up in the South, the stigma behind mental health has always been very, very negative. And it's you're commonly told to figure it out, get over it, whatever you got to do. And I think we need to start moving away from that. I think it's really important for if you feel like you need help and you feel like you need to speak to somebody. And the cool thing about speaking to a therapist is there's no biased opinion about anybody that you're talking about. If people come up in conversation, they don't know the other person, they don't even know you, and it's just an opportunity for you to just get some things off your chest, and hear an opinion from somebody who has never met you before, who can give you just a brutally honest answer. up front. And I think that's really good. So I really enjoyed it. I'm really looking forward to our next few sessions that we do. And I am here to say that if you are on the fence about uh, doing any sort of counseling, dude, just go for it. I think you'll like it. I think you really will. But I also think it's one of those things where if you're not ready, then please don't, because I don't think it'll. It's not totally fair to relate it in the same manner, but like a drug addict, you can't make a drug addict go to rehab. They have to want to go to rehab for it to be effective.
Right.
If you force them into rehab, 9 times out of 10, it's not going to work. I feel like that applies with therapy. If you're not ready to see a therapist, that's probably not going to work, because you got this wall that's up, and no matter what they say, you're just going to be able to fire back and be like, "You're wasting my time," yada yada yada. I was ready. So that's why I went in with a clear mind, ready to just let's see if we can get things straightened out, and I love it. So I'm really looking forward to it, and excited to see where I end whenever we're done.
Nice. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's always a good thing, because the better you are, the more outlook on life you would have.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
I think
Absolutely.
probably a
And
good
that's
thing.
what I want.
Right.
Yeah, I want my quality of life to be a lot higher than it is right now.
Right.
And I got a lot of things going on. Work is stressful, and there's house things going on. My day-to-day life is pretty stressful, and I just need to learn how to work through that, because there's some things that I can help, and there's some things I just can't help, and I have a very hard time separating the two. There's things that I just cannot control that I try my best to control, and I've got to learn to accept that sometimes it's just that's how it has to be, and it's gonna be okay. And we'll get there.
Oh yeah.
I've never done it before. I'm 29 years old, and I have never had any type of counseling or anything in my any type of counseling or therapy in my life ever. So this is totally new for me. And I was hesitant at first, but I sent a message to Darren Marler the other day,
Yes.
because when we
I
had
was
him on the show, he was, yeah.
I was just about to mention him, because he was a real big component in like telling you, or asking you, have you ever gone to somebody, or do you think you need to, do you think you want to? And I think that we need him back on, so that you can tell him how well you're doing right now.
Yeah, I think I would love to have Darren back on.
Yeah.
Darren, if you're listening, please let's get you back on, and we'll kind of follow up.
Yeah.
But I shot him a message the other day on Twitter and just said, "Hey, just to let you know, I started therapy the other day. I was very inspired by what you said when you came on the show, and it's been sitting on my mind these past few months since you've been on, and it's been great. And I appreciate you giving me that push. So, but yeah, go check out our episode with Darren Marler from the Weird Darkness podcast. It was so fun. I love his show. He's got a great paranormal ghost, true crime podcast that he does. And if you are a believer, it's faith based, so that's cool.
And did you know that he has an actual coffee on?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Dark Roast.
Yeah.
I have not tried it, but I do want to. It
I wonder,
sounds really good.
I wonder if it's just coffee beans only, or like K-cups, because I don't really do coffee coffee ground beans. I do the K-cup things. I wonder if he
It's
has like
possible.
K-cup. Yeah.
It's possible. I'm not sure. We'll have to check out his store
Yeah.
to see what they offer.
There we go. There we go.
Yeah. Man.
Cool, man.
Well, cool.
So today in music, you want to do that?
Yeah, let's do it this day in music for October 25th of when this episode is coming out. Does that sound good to you, James? So in 1964, the Rolling Stones appeared for the first time on the Ed Sullivan Show from New York, performing Around and Around and Time Is on My Side. A riot broke out in the studio, prompting Sullivan's infamous quote, "I promise you they'll never be back on our show again." The Rolling Stones went on to make a further 5 appearances on Sullivan's show between 1965 and 1969. But in 1968, the double album Electric Ladyland by the Jimi Hendrix Experience was released. It was also made available as 2 albums with changed artwork after complaints that the naked women who were pictured on the sleeve were just a little too much. The female models were each paid €5, which is almost $7 in U.S. currency, for the photo shoot, and then another £5 if they posed completely naked. So there's the story about that. And 1969, Sugar Sugar by the Archies was at #1 on the UK singles chart. It stayed at the top for 8 weeks and was #1 in the US, selling over 6 million copies worldwide. The Archies were a rock group based on the comic book characters. In 1970, speaking at a U.S. radio conference, President Nixon asked programmers to ban all songs containing drug references. Let me know how that worked out for you. In 1986, Bon Jovi went #1 on the U.S. album chart with Slippery When Wet, featuring 2 U.S. #1 singles, You Give Love a Bad Name and Living on a Prayer. The album went on to sell over 8 million copies worldwide. Jump forward a little bit to 1997. After falling over on stage when reaching for a guitar pick, Johnny Cash announced during a gig in Michigan that he was suffering from Parkinson's disease. Also in 1997, the Spice Girls went #1 in the UK singles chart with Spice Up Your Life. Taken from their second album, Spice World, the single set a new record, making them the only act to have their first 5 singles reach #1. Very impressive. In 2012, Forbes magazine reported that Michael Jackson topped their list of highest earning dead musical celebrities by earning $145 million in the past year. Elvis Presley ranked #2 with $55 million in earnings, and then Bob Marley #3 with $17 million. They jumped a good bit. Like, you got 17, you got 55, and then just Michael Jackson blows everybody out of the water with $145 million. But I'm sure that had a lot to do with, being close to the year that he died. So, and then finally here, excuse me, in 2015, American guitarist and saxophonist Marlo Henderson died at age 67. As a session musician, he played on albums such as Off the Wall by Michael Jackson, and also worked with Paul McCartney and Minnie Riperton. And that is today's This Day in Music.
Speaking of Michael Jackson, remember, I think it was either last week's or the week before where you told me that Mike would. Oh no, when we did that Thriller cover Wars Thriller. You told me that on some certain vinyl records you can find a picture disc of him with zombies on it.
Yes, you can. It's like the 25th anniversary of Thriller, I think.
Right, and I was able to find it on eBay, but it had that little plastic thing that you slide. I'm like, I can't, I love my actual covers,
Yeah.
where you can slip it into. I just can't stand the plastic, the plastic covers.
You want the real deal.
Yeah. So so I'm definitely looking for the that Halloween version of Thriller.
It's cool.
Because it has him all zombified, has his red jacket on, and then
the red jacket, all the zombies are surrounding him. Yeah, it's just that iconic cover from a very iconic music video, album, song, everything. So I love it.
So anybody who's listening to the cover wars of Thriller, tell us what you think. And always you tell us what you think by leaving a review or and also a rating for us, just to make sure that we're doing a okay job on this, podcast for you. So yeah.
Please and thank you.
Yeah. Exactly.
All right. Well, James, you want to get into it?
Yeah, so this is the third week of Halloween, right? Or the Halloween month.
I think so. Yeah, I think this is where we're coming up on our the closing of our spooky October Halloween specials that we've been doing this whole month. So they've been a lot of fun. Looking forward to this one. This one's going to be really cool.
Yes.
But yeah. So with Halloween just around the corner, it is the best time to immerse yourself into tales of the supernatural, the macabre, and the downright creepy. This being a music podcast, though, we felt it would be fun to take a look at some of these stories that come from some of our favorite musicians. So can't wait to get in that. By the way, spoiler warning, if you're in a band, as we're going to see with a lot of these stories today, if you're in a band and you are planning on recording at the Houdini Mansion in Hollywood, it is probably haunted. But anyway, James, you want to get started here?
I like that, dude. You came with the fire on that one. Hell
We're
yeah.
expecting that, yeah.
Yeah. That's amazing. Okay, so everybody knows Alice Cooper.
Everybody.
I'm a big Alice Cooper. You know he plays golf?
Yes.
He's a great
Yes.
golfer.
He loves to golf.
He's a great golfer. Yeah, so
A golfist, if you will.
I don't know. Sure, that's what they all say, right? Yeah, okay. All right, so let's talk about Alice Cooper for a minute, you know?
Sure.
Okay, so way back in '83, I was 3 years old at that time.
Very nice.
Yeah, so Alice Cooper and Aerosmith's Joe Perry got together to write some new music, only to be totally uneasy the full time due to their new surroundings. According to Cooper, he and Perry were both fresh from rehab and decided to work together on music for a new film. His manager set him up with a home in the upstate New York that was an old house in the middle of a farm country. Cooper said, "I'm putting my clothes away. So he leaves the room and comes back, and the door in the closet door is closed. The drawer was packed, and the drawer I was packing is closed. I don't remember closing that. The house was full of. The house was so full of whatever on the second night that we were there. That don't make sense to me. The house was so full of.
Had some typos with it, so sorry.
That's fine. So we're sitting there and eating dinner, and it sounds like somebody is moving furniture in the basement. It's making so much noise. It's not even trying to be subtle. Right, it's making so, yeah. So Cooper then shared his experience with Perry, who related similar experiences since entering the house. We ran out of that place so fast, I found it later. This is where the guy wrote the Amityville Horror, wrote the story there in that house.
Yeah, so
I
the house.
I have seen that movie, and that house just looks like you see the windows and the front of the front of the house.
You know exactly what it is.
Yeah, you can tell that it's not anywhere to mess with, you know.
Yeah, if you're not a horror movie fan like James and myself,
Right.
The Amityville Horror is a very, very, very disturbing story about a family that moves into a house where people were murdered, and then the father starts to slowly lose his mind, and so the house that Alice Cooper and Joe Perry, oddly enough, hang out in to try to write music for this movie turns out to be the place where the guy that wrote the Amityville Horror wrote the story. It was so crazy, man. It's so eerie, man.
And and this we forgot to tell you this, but this episode is based on horror stories from musicians.
Yes, yeah. This is all from our favorite musicians. Yeah.
Right, so it's not like our last episode with Creepypasta, but those were stories. These are actual stories from actual musicians.
Yes, these are 100% true stories from your musicians. Take them at their word, please. But I like to think that they're real. It was fun.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna tell you about Corey Taylor a little bit. If you're not familiar with Corey Taylor, he is the lead singer of Slipknot and Stone Sour. We featured Slipknot on our Masked Singers or Masked Bands episodes. little while back. So Slipknot's Corey Taylor has had a number of paranormal experiences over the years. Something that he tried to come to terms with in his book, A Funny Thing Happened on the Way to Heaven. Have you read that? I want to read it. It's on my list of things to read. I hadn't got around to it yet, but instances of thermoses flying across the kitchen and hearing footsteps behind him on hardwood floors, only to turn and find no one there. Taylor revealed that one of his earliest experiences came when he and some of his fellow neighborhood kids explored a nearby abandoned house. He said, "We called it Cold House." He said, and he compared it to the kind of place that you would dare your friends to go inside of. One night, a group of his friends decided to go ahead and explore the place together. He said, "We were all standing on the first floor of this place. It was 2 stories, and this thing came down the stairs at us. It was the silhouette of a man that was kind of backlit in a way from its own energy. It came down the stairs at us. We flipped out, killed ourselves running from the house. My leg went through the rotted wood on the front porch, and I still have a scar on my shin." It kind of reminds me of have you ever seen that movie Monster House? It's like an animated movie. It is great. I love to watch Monster House around Halloween. It's so fun. It's just great animation, great story about this haunted house where the house is actually alive and it eats kids that enter the yard and all this stuff. Yeah, that's what it reminds me of.
That sounds spooky, you know.
Yeah, spooky.
I wonder if that was what did you call it? It's not like a premonition. It's like a I don't know. I don't know how to put it. Apparition.
Apparition. Yes. It could have been.
I wonder if it's like an apparition of something, some kind of silhouette of something.
Could be.
But that's weird because I can't tell you that that's not true. You know,
yeah.
Because if there was 3 people, or like a group of friends that saw the same thing, who am I not to say that happened? So it's all weird stuff. So
weird.
Vince Neil from Motley Crue.
Yeah.
I sure hope he gets help because I heard that he fell off the stage like at like a concert of like a week ago back. Yeah, it's not doing very well.
Shape, man. And he's been in rough shape for a long time. I remember they had that VH1 show about him.
Right.
And like he was, getting off drugs and he quit drinking and he was, just getting healthy and he seemed like he was doing okay.
Yeah.
And lately it does not seem like he is doing okay. So hopefully he gets himself cleaned up, man.
Have you seen The Dirt?
No, not yet. It's still queued up. I just hadn't got around to watching it.
Dude, everybody who's listening into this right now, go watch The Dirt on Netflix.
Yeah.
That is a good documentary. It's not totally true, but it's a good watch. It's best time.
Good biopic.
Yes.
About Motley Crue. Yeah.
Anyway, Vince Neil had a horror story, and here it is. It makes sense that there might be some spirits floating around in Sin City, like there always is, right? Sin City, you never know what's going on.
Right.
Motley Crue's Vince Neil decided to join the Travel Channel's Ghost Adventures as they investigated the spirits in room 908 in Las Vegas Riviera Hotel. He told Las Vegas Sun, "After what we experienced, I now really believe in this paranormal phenomena, which you too will scare out of your pants. You will be scared out of your pants."
Vince Neil.
Yeah, right.
Stay in your pants, Vince Neil, please.
Yeah. Neil joined the show's hosts and several other Vegas celebs at a party in the old hotel penthouse in hopes of conjuring up some ghosts from Las Vegas past. That's never a good idea.
No, please don't do that.
No. Especially with the Ouija board. Don't do that either.
Yeah. And they said what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas.
Yes.
It probably stayed there for a reason.
Right. So he said, we experienced unexplained firsthand encounters including including scratch marks on one woman's back, cold sensations, voices, and knocking.
Hmm.
Hill said of the expedition, but when we went back to room 908, we really had the shocking, overwhelming physical experience of our lives.
I'll have to watch that episode. I
Yeah,
used to watch Ghost Adventures and different things like that. Then they made like 200 of the same show, so I kind of
and there's
fell off.
many,
Of it,
many,
but
many ghost shows, and it's like which one to watch. And
yeah,
that one does
but I mean that would
sound
be interesting. You know who else does a lot of like ghost hunting and adventures and stuff like that? Mark Wahlberg does a
interesting.
lot of that. Yeah.
Huh.
Um, and he does it with his kids. So like his sons are very involved with the ghost hunting and stuff too, from what I've heard. Now I've never seen any shows. Actually, not Mark Wahlberg. Who am I thinking of? Not Mark Wahlberg. Oh my gosh. All right, Parks and Rec. Did you ever watch that?
Yes.
Okay, so he was Rob Lowe. Rob Lowe. That's it.
Okay.
That's who I'm thinking of. Not Mark Wahlberg. Rob Lowe does a lot of ghost hunting. He's got some kind of show. I don't know if it's on Travel Channel or not, but where him and his sons they go out looking for ghosts. So
Well, there you go.
heard it.
Yeah.
All right, so we're going to talk about My Chemical Romance. We've talked about this guy in particular on our comic book episode because he is notorious for being heavily involved with a lot of different comic books. But let's talk about Gerard Way for a second. If you know the history of My Chemical Romance is the Black Parade album, it's a wonder that they truly did carry on.
Uh-huh.
Anyway, so the album cycle seemed to be cursed for the band, with the group going so far as to print "I Survived the Black Parade" T-shirts after numerous misfortunes. I wish I had one of those. The strange occurrences started while recording at the notoriously haunted mansion, the Paramore. Now, this is not the Houdini mansion that I mentioned earlier. This is a different place. This is called the Paramore. While there, the band noticed doors slamming and opening of their own volition, and a serious atmosphere always seemed to inhabit their surroundings. Singer Gerard Way experienced night terrors, while bassist Mikey Way eventually vacated the mansion's most haunted room to sleep on Gerard's floor. The entire band left the mansion before their scheduled time, but a curse seemed to follow them.
Hmm.
Now, I knew about this. I didn't know about the haunted recording session, but I did know about what I'm about to speak on now. So during the Famous Last Words music video, I don't know if you're familiar, but it's the music video that takes place after just to set the scene a little bit. So you have when the Black Parade came out, the first single was called Welcome to the Black Parade. They are a marching band basically on this float, they're performing or whatever. All right, so Famous Last Words was the follow-up single to Welcome to the Black Parade. The music video is actually like a part 2 of the story where the parade float has crashed and it is on fire and the band is just performing in front of the flames of this, and this thing is engulfed, right? Okay, so during the Famous Last Words music video, Frank Iero jumped on singer Gerard Way, causing the vocalist to tear ligaments in his ankle. Meanwhile, drummer Bob Breyer's leg caught on fire during one take, and he suffered second and third degree burns that eventually became infected, causing gangrene. His pants actually melted into his leg. It was pretty crazy. Because they're all just performing like right in front of these flames, and they just got a little out of control. And the poor drummer is going to be the first one that suffers. We're all the way in the back. You just always have to put us in the back. We're always in the back. We can't ever be up front or anything. We're always in the back. We're the first to suffer. Anyway, so Breyer would also injure his wrist on tour, while members of the band and crew got food poisoning, causing the cancellation of 6 shows. And Frank Iero also had to leave the tour at one point due to some form of illness. I couldn't really find out what, but what a grueling, that whole album took it. I mean, it did a number on that entire band. Honestly, I think it's because of that album, they only put out one more album and then they broke up.
Right.
And it probably has to do a lot with the circumstances surrounding the recording, maybe. They would play every night in costume, and I believe that they played the Black Parade pretty much in its entirety, and went on like world tours and just for like 2 or 3 solid years just supporting that album because it was so huge,
Right.
and they suffered because of it big time. So
So okay, so hearing that, I think that every band now should have their drummer turned sideways like Nine Point does, or put the drummer
safely
in front of the guitarists.
put us all in a drum riser, okay, and we are elevated and we turn to the front and we flip around and we do the side thing like Tommy Lee and Joey Jordison and Travis Barker and all those guys, to keep us from the flames, because come on,
Right.
we have to be in the back. And if there's any type of pyrotechnics, I guess it's not always the case because James Hetfield took a pretty nasty burn from some pyrotechnics gone wrong. But
Yeah, that's true.
this is what I'm talking about. This is drummer discrimination, and I am against it. I do not like it.
Yeah. So
I'm fucked up.
I know.
Sorry.
That's okay.
I got out of hand.
That's
Sorry.
right.
everybody.
Yeah, but that's okay. It's
I'm
okay.
gonna
You
drink
gotta
my limoncello.
there you go.
I'm just gonna sip on my limoncello while you tell us about Tony Iommi.
Tony Iommi, one of the grandfathers of metal. Or is he the father of metal? Who knows?
Probably the father. No, maybe the grandfather. I don't know. Ozzy is the godfather of heavy metal, right? Isn't that what they say?
Well, yeah, but then if he's the grandfather, then what's Iommi? Because they were in both in Black Sabbath.
They're
Well, is
yeah.
Tony Iommi the grandfather?
Who knows, man? I know he's missing a finger. Did you know that?
Yes, sir. And he even made finger cups to play it. Yeah, yeah.
He lost his.
I think he saw them off, didn't he? Yeah.
Yeah, I think they said he cut off like his pinky and his ring finger.
His tips, the
tips of
tip of the. That's why he
Yeah,
made. That's why he made caps for his fingers. You know, so it doesn't hurt him when he plays. You know, right? Because I don't know if he was working on something and just I won't slice them off, or
They said he worked at a machine shop or something.
Okay.
And, something like that.
That's why.
Yeah.
So, Tony Iommi from Black Sabbath. Okay. It's not uncommon for a few guests to be around for recording sessions, but Black Sabbath had a surprise visitor during their recording of Sabbath Bloody Sabbath. Great album.
Great album.
Speaking of the reunion CD liner notes, Tony Iommi recalled their session at Clearwater Castle in Wales, explaining that the band spotted a special visitor one night. He said, we rehearsed in the armory there one night, and I was walking down the corridor with Ozzy. We saw this figure in black cloak. I said, "Who's that?" And Ozzy said, "I don't know." We followed this figure back into the armory, and there was absolutely no one there.
Ozzy, I'm going to correct you. Ozzy really said,
Yes, he did say that.
Sean. God bless you, Ozzy. I love Ozzy. I think he's great.
We love him. We love him. Yes. So.
Continue.
Hey, so he said we followed the figure in black back to the armory, and there was absolutely no one there. Whoever it was had disappeared into thin air. Iommi recalls. Iommi says that the people who own the castle there were well aware about the ghost, which was surprising to the band. They did have some fun with the encounter. We spent the rest of the night trying to frighten each other by rigging up all these devices. In the end, we were all petrified, and we had to drive home every night rather than stay there. That defeat the objective of it all.
I'm noticing a trend. with some of these places. Really do your research, and we'll get into the Houdini the Houdini Mansion before or the Houdini Hotel, excuse me, before too long here. But if you're a recording band and you're looking into to recording somewhere soon, do your research on the place you're about to go record. Don't look at how much it costs an hour. No. Do your digging and find out if there have been any type of paranormal encounters that have happened there. I'm sure there's stories, especially now on the internet. Just look it up. Just take a look, see if there anything freaky has happened. And if not, then I think you're set. But if so, go in, be prepared to have a paranormal experience.
See,
but it's not good because look at Bloody Sabbath, and Black Parade, like, did wonderful.
There's two reasons why I think that people record in like weird places. One, it's cheap to get recording hours because Lord knows, how much. Oh yeah, they're very pricey. Two, who else can say we recorded this album in a castle?
Sure,
who can say that? Nobody.
That's true.
But
Yeah.
So I guess
it's all about your reputation.
Yeah, so I guess it's just one of those two excuses, I guess you would call it.
I'll tell you who didn't give two craps about their reputation. Sid and Nancy. Do you like the transition, James, that I did to the next story?
Yeah.
All right. So the death of Sex Pistols' Sid Vicious came just a few months after he was charged in the death of his girlfriend, Nancy Spungen. But there are people who feel the couple's combustible relationship has carried over into the paranormal world. I Love Classic Rock reports that visitors at to the Chelsea Hotel over the years have reported that Sid Vicious sightings in both the hotel room where Spungen died, as well as the hotel's elevator, can be seen. Others have spotted the musician opening and closing doors, while guests in room 100 have reported hearing a couple arguing, someone playing loud music, and even some temperature changes occurring. There is some type of involvement. The story, by the way, if you don't know anything about the story of Sid and Nancy, it is tragic. It is a very, very sad story. The bassist for the Sex Pistols, Sid Vicious, was a very troubled young man. He was also dating a very troubled young lady, and they were not good for each other, and the whole outcome was very tragic. But there is some type of connection, and I can't remember off the top of my head, but Jerry Only from the Misfits, I think, was at the hotel when Sid Vicious died. I can't remember if that's what it was. He's got some kind of involvement. I'll have to look that up. Maybe I'll look that up while you're telling us about the next one. But yeah, it's a very interesting story. Jerry Only has some kind of weird connection to that whole deal. So
mark that down for me, please.
Sorry, what was it?
42 minutes.
42 minutes. Got it.
Okay. I don't know what happened there, but it's okay. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know why the Sex Pistols came out with one album. It's never here's the Sex Pistols. I don't think Johnny what is it, Johnny Rotten?
Johnny Rotten.
Mm-hmm. I don't think he wanted to pursue the music after their first album. I don't know.
They didn't do a lot, and I wasn't a huge Sex Pistols fan, but they weren't very active.
No,
not very. And I guess it probably had a lot to do with Sid, who was such an icon for the band, dying so suddenly and at such a young age. And poor guy he barely started learning how to play the bass
right
whenever he joined the band. So but it was all about the attitude, dude. The punk scene in the 70s, it was attitude, especially the UK punk scene. Yeah, so that was what I wanted him. He had that little snarl.
That was it. Yeah. So let's talk about Marilyn Manson for a minute.
Yeah.
So many bands have recorded hit records in the Harry Houdini house.
Oh,
Ooh, wait, spooky. That's the house that you were talking about earlier
that's it. That's the one we finally got there.
there you go. But the mansion does have a spooky history. Twiggy Ramirez and John Five, which is the respectively bassist and guitarist,
Yes.
relayed some of their experiences recording Manson's Hollywood. Is that yeah, Hollywood album
Yep.
to Guitar magazine, recalling some potentially paranormal experiences.
Mm.
Twiggy recalled, I spent the night there once, and in the morning I heard people downstairs. I heard someone playing the piano. I thought the crew had arrived, but then I figured it must have been Bon Harris, one of the engineers who used to be in the band Nights or Ebb. Okay. Playing the piano.
Never.
No. I got up and there was no one down there. 10 minutes later, Bon showed up and I asked him if he was playing the piano. He said, "What are you talking about? I just got here. I don't
Mm.
I don't know if he was pulling my leg or something, or if some dead babies were playing the piano. Dead babies. What the? Okay.
He must have been referencing Alice Cooper and his song "Dead Babies."
Ah, yes, yes.
Yeah, it could have been it.
Very good song choice right there, man.
Yeah, it's a great song.
So then the guitarist John Five shared a story that was a little bit more convincing than Twiggy's. Uh, on one time, our co-producer Dave Sardi was in the kitchen, and he was walking back to the living room, and then he recalled there were curtains separating the two rooms. He bumped into something behind the curtains, saying, "Oh, gee, sorry." But when he opened the curtains, no one was there. Uh, so so there was something going on in the house. There were so many rooms. Nobody in the right mind would want to stay there overnight.
I'm sorry. I know how John Five looks. And I
Right.
know that he's like a very like scary, intimidating person. If you don't know how he looks, he recently, not recently, he's been playing with Rob Zombie for a while.
Years, yeah.
Very great, yeah, like crazy good guitarist. But
Yeah.
he's got his makeup, and he's a really tall guy. And I just envision him bumping into the curtains, uh, and being like, oh, gee, sorry, and just it doesn't fit. But I think it's great.
He's
It
the
shows you
natural.
different.
Okay, so for people who don't know who John Five is or was, he was a guitarist for respectively Rob Zombie and Marilyn Manson, right?
Yeah,
So he wears face makeup during the shows. And
yeah.
without the makeup, he doesn't seem all that scary. It's just when he has the music, when he has the face paint on with the mouth.
Stage
Yeah,
persona.
yeah, right, yeah, yes. So that's what Blake was getting at.
Yeah,
Not he doesn't look weird, outright with no makeup. He looks perfectly like human.
no, I think he's a handsome gentleman.
Right. Yeah.
It's just on stage, he's very scary looking.
And I've heard he's the nicest, most humblest guy ever made.
Usually, how it goes.
Oh yeah,
Yep.
yeah. Yeah.
Well, I always said, like, people always gave a lot of crap to like Hot Topic and being like, I don't want to go in there. Those people that work in Hot Topic are freaks and they're weird and they're mean.
They're Satan.
Like, yeah, right. They're so
Yeah.
not those Satan worshippers, and they're like the nicest people in the world.
Right. Yeah.
All right. Well, let's talk about the Red Hot Chili Peppers. We've never discussed them on the show, I don't believe. We'll have to do an episode on Red Hot Chili Peppers.
And we never have. Yeah.
All right. So the Houdini Mansion. In Los Angeles is a very popular place to record. But nearly every act that spent time there has a ghost story. That includes the Red Hot Chili Peppers, who famously used the space to record their Blood Sugar Sex Magic album, with producer Rick Rubin. During the sessions, drummer Chad Smith refused to stay at the mansion, stating, "I'm not scared of ghosts, but I felt a presence. A presence, not a president's presence." There were strange orbs that turned up in some of the photographs, and Flea reported spotting a woman in black. According to Kerrang, guitarist John Frusciante perceived the ghost to be friendly and even admitted to pleasuring himself in front of one of them.
Ooh,
That's weird.
Yeah.
But sure, let's give a... Because I did not like the visual of that.
No, we don't want anybody to visualize that.
No,
Get that thought out of your head, y'all. All right. So are you ready to break the walls down?
Dude, I made sure that you did this one. I rearranged these notes just so you could talk about this gentleman here.
I love you for this.
Yeah, man, I got you.
Chris Jericho.
You just saw him.
Yes, I did.
Yeah. You just saw him in concert.
If you haven't seen Chris Jericho, you are missing out on a wonderful experience. The dude. Okay, so a lot of people give him crap because oh yeah, you're a wrestler, you can't sing. He can sing, y'all. That dude can. Yeah. So, and if you go to our Instagram page, you'll see like about a 60-second clip of him that I took when I was there seeing him, and you can see he can actually sing.
Yep.
So, okay, so he has a band called Fozzy. Mm-hmm. So Fozzy's frontman and wrestling superstar Chris Jericho once hosted a travel channel show where he was sent to explore potential paranormal activity. Ooh. Traveling to Louisiana for the shoot. The singer tells us, one of the strangest tales led us to this voodoo priestess and this giant burial ground where there like 50 or 60 people buried there. While we were there, some very strange things happened, and it became like a fight or flight thing. It was like, we got to get out of here. This is not cool. Jericho, Jericho, who has done podcasts about and explored the paranormal since his 10 years, tells us, you could feel it. You could really feel it, and it was not a joke or having the heebie-jeebies. That's always a fun word to say. Yeah. You could really feel that something really weird was going on here, and you better not mess with it. I know the difference between, oh my God, there's something going on and bump in the night that scares me, and you just have this deep feeling or something that's not right about it. It was really, 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 really creepy, and it felt real too. So yeah. There's, I mean, I find like the human like us can sense like there's like either danger or like a creep. It's like a sixth sense kind of thing,
Yeah.
And I
people
feel like
go to like graveyards and burial sites and stuff like that, and you want to do it for fun, and it's spooky and whatever. And it's like, no, man, you don't understand. Have you not seen the movie Poltergeist?
Yes.
Because things happen when you disturb the burial grounds of like ancient Native American burial grounds or wherever, or stuff happens. So be careful, for sure.
Right. Yeah. So, okay. So we're going to talk about, so we talked about Corey Taylor, the lead singer of Slipknot. Now we're going to talk about Slipknot, the whole band, I think.
The band as a whole. Yep.
Which there's 9 of them.
9. Yes.
9 guys. So you can add Slipknot to the list of bands who have recorded at the Houdini Mansion in Hollywood. You got it. Who have noted strange occurrences. The band worked with producer Rick Rubin again on their Volume 3, the Subliminal Versus album, which is
Oh man, it's my fave.
just Blake's favorite, and have a few odd experiences from their time there. Um, Singer Corey Taylor revealed in the book a funny thing happened on the way to heaven. That he was visited while taking a shower. Ooh.
Yeah.
I was alone in our room. The door to our room was shut and locked. The door to the balcony was shut and locked also, but the room to the bathroom was wide open. I was taking a shower, getting ready to hit the town with a vengeance, like he always does. I was in a great mood, he said, uh, singing along with the Bee Gees and washing all the filthy bits and, you know, parts that he needed to wash. Uh, immediate attention to.
Yeah.
Says, says Taylor, setting the scene, and what a scene he sets for us. Thank you, Taylor, for that
Yeah.
ungodly
Visual.
vision. Yeah. The shower curtain opened a smidge, though, and I could see from the room, from the vantage point. I looked up, and a man in tuxedo walked past the open door, staring right at me.
Oh, I know what that is. That's just John Frusciante from Red Hot Chili Peppers. Just
There you
watching
go.
in the shower. It all makes sense. See, everything, it all comes back around.
Yeah.
Problem solved. Answered
that-
your question there, Corey Taylor.
That was Corey's story. But
Yeah.
drummer Joey Jordanson also revealed that he felt a ghostly form pass through him in the basement and reported his door swinging open at the same time at 9:30 a.m. every morning. Pass
Weird.
through him, man.
Ugh. Yeah. That's strange. I've heard people talk about that. I've heard about
Yeah.
the people feel something like walk through them, like when they go to like a haunted place or whatever.
Right.
I don't know what that feels like, but I have I'm sure it's very unsettling.
Yeah.
I can't.
Like, yeah.
Yeah. All right. So we did a Southern Rock episode a few episodes back. We spoke about Lynyrd Skynyrd then, and we're going to speak about him again. There are some Lynyrd Skynyrd fans who believe that a paranormal experience is happening in the trees around the Jack's Memory Gardens Cemetery in Jacksonville, Florida, where Ronnie Van Zant and Steve and Cassie Gaines are buried. Photographer Don Stollard shared a pair of cemetery photos with Halloween's Unseen, where it appears that the faces of the buried band members can be seen in the nearby trees. Ugh. None of the other photos from the shoot seemingly showcase the faces in the trees, but once Stollard posted his images, fans immediately picked out the one shot, noticing the resemblance of the deceased band members in the trees. It's as plain as day when you finally see them. Stollard said, "I've had a long connection with Skynyrd, and the Van Zants are friends of mine, and they were a little spooked, but comforted by it as well. It does look like Cassie and Ronnie, and they are buried side by side there. So that's sweet. Sometimes you get a ghost story, and it's very precious.
Right.
So if that is the case, then by golly, that's precious. What a precious paranormal tale. But I've never seen that picture. Now I'm curious. It was in the notes, and I forgot to look up the picture of it. So I'm gonna have to do that. I'll do that while you're moving on.
Cool. So I like rap in all forms, right? But there's there's rappers that I loving the most that I love is Kendrick Lamar.
Oh yeah, he's wonderful. I love that dude. He did a wonderful job with the Black Panther soundtrack.
Yes. And I've heard that he has the most. I forget, he has the most awards won in one show. It's he has awards that's like right under Michael Jackson's.
Yeah.
Right.
He's a very accomplished
artist.
I think you have one of his vinyls. Didn't you used to have it hanging up behind you?
Yeah, I got one. I got the album Damn, and I bought it twice because I bought the regular version and I bought the limited edition. So yeah. Big fan.
Be Humble was a great track off that album for sure.
Exactly. I think that's one of the songs involved Don Cheadle, right?
I think so.
I
Yeah.
forget what the song is. I've never heard of
Yeah.
it for a long time, but yeah, it's yeah. So okay, so Kendrick Lamar story is acclaimed rap artist and activist Kendrick Lamar claims to have been visited by in his sleep by the ghost of the legendary Tupac Shakur. Wow.
Ooh.
Okay.
Maybe it was just a hologram from a few years ago. Remember when Tupac did the hologram concerts?
Right. I think Snoop Dogg and Dr. Dre funded that hologram, right? It was
Yeah.
like $48 million, and
Right.
Dr. Dre was like, "Here you go." Like it was like,
Yeah. Knock yourself out.
"Make it, dude." Yeah.
Yeah.
Lamar spoke of the incident to homegrown radio, recalling how Shakur silhouette came to him. He said, uh, "Keep doing what you're doing. Don't let the music die." That's Shakur's uh, apparition telling him that.
Yeah.
This experience later inspired the closing song to Pimp, Pimp a Butterfly, titled Mortal Man, in which he samples his real life interview with the following rap legend in '94.
Huh.
Wow.
Yeah. To give that a listen too.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool.
It says, "Don't let the music die." That's some inspiring words, because
Yeah.
when you think about ghosts coming back to visit you or essentially to haunt you, a lot of people don't realize
Yeah.
that ghosts can be nice too. And this one was inspiring. I mean, he said, "Keep doing what you're doing. Don't let the music die," and that's very inspirational.
Very.
So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Well, you want to tell us about the next one too? She's got a new album coming out.
She does. I thought you quit.
Yep. No, she's coming back, man. She's making a comeback. I saw a few commercials for it today while I was at work, so I'll have to give that a listen because
See, music is just like wrestling in some instances. You always come back.
always come back.
You never fully retire.
No.
So okay, so we're gonna talk about Adele.
Woo.
Fantastic voice. Oh my god.
She got them pipes.
Huh?
She got them pipes.
She does. She does. So once multi-platinum pop star Adele moved into a beautiful new $6 million home in 2012, she began to hear strange noises that gave her the creeps. The singer lavished 25-acre West Sussex property and previously been a convent. Yeah, convent. Fit with his very own chapel. Apparently, yeah.
Creepy.
So, uh, apparently, Adele was so spooked by the sounds she heard that she upped her security to around the clock surveillances and tacked on 2 additional groundsmen to protect her from whatever spirits have been lurking around.
That's what happens whenever you buy a $6 million home without doing your research.
First of all, I respect the people who buy $6 million, $7 million, $8 million, 29, right? But why would you need $1 million house just like one bedroom house can do the same thing? I don't understand that.
Yeah, I agree. I'm right there with you. If you got the essentials and you want to take some of the money that you would have spent on buying the house itself, just put it into fixing up the inside. I mean, that's what you see the most of.
Right. Yeah.
If you're comfortable, get yourself a nice TV. Right. Get yourself a refrigerator that has an ice maker. That's pretty lavish to me.
Oh,
one of those.
Have you seen these refrigerators that can connect to like Spotify and Apple Music, and you just turn on? Oh my god, I want those ones somewhere.
Oh, I'd love one too, but I can't afford it.
So you can listen to this Slipknot. So I can listen to Slipknot or Adele while I'm making my food.
There you go. You're making yourself a ham Sammy, and you got Slipknot blasting in the background, and then you're punching the sandwich before too long. And as long as you're not making it at the Houdini mansion.
Yeah.
I only did that because I don't have any other stories about that.
Okay.
So I just had to get it in there one last time. But anyway,
Well,
so let's talk about Aaron Carter a little bit.
Okay.
Are you familiar with Aaron Carter?
Aaron Carter, that's the troublemaker, right? That's not Nick Carter.
That's not Nick Carter. Yeah, it's his younger brother.
Nick Carter was Backstreet Boys.
Yeah, Backstreet Boys.
Okay, yeah.
Aaron Carter had his only his solo career or whatever. There's a really funny story about Aaron Carter that I need to tell you real quick. So, I don't think Allie would get upset with me telling the story.
Yeah.
Anyway, all right. So shortly after, before we started dating, Allie was in a long, like a 5-year relationship with a guy, and they broke up, and she was a little sad about it. And her sister and her friend Kayla went over to her house and replaced all the pictures of the ex-boyfriend in her bedroom with just these random photos, right? So one of the picture frames, the way that the picture frame is shaped, they put a picture of Aaron Carter from one of his album covers in this picture frame, but the frame itself cut out some of the letters in his name, and it cut out the AA in Aaron, so it just said Ron, and then Carter, the R was cut off by the framing, right? So her dad, Allie's dad, comes into the room and he picks up this picture frame and he's like, "Who's Ron Carter?" So anytime I hear about Aaron Carter now, I just refer to him as Ron Carter. Anyway, funny story. So Aaron Carter, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I will expect you to text me later and say, "Please take this out." Due to Allie, you know.
Oh yeah.
I'm fully.
1 hour and 4 minutes.
Right. Yeah, I'm fully aware of that text coming. So.
Yeah. So Aaron Carter, triple platinum recording artist and younger brother of Backstreet Boys Nick Carter, never told his family about the promise he made with his dying grandmother. According to the singer's segment on Celebrity Ghost Stories, Carter's fun-loving grandma enjoyed pulling scary pranks on him as a kid, but even still, nothing scared him more than when she was diagnosed with terminal cancer. While his grandmother was a lifelong believer in life after death, Aaron admits he wasn't too convinced until she revealed herself to him through a candle that she made him promise to light once that she had passed away. He claims that once he blew it out, her ghost apparated in the room with a cold blast that took her shape and said, "I told you." Ooh. Wow. So yeah.
She's scared him. She's scaring him until the very end.
Yeah, she sounded like a fun grandma for sure.
Yeah.
I don't know how fun she would have been if she would have appeared after she had passed away to play a few more pranks. I don't know if I'd have been okay with that, but right. Ron Carter. So moving on from Ron Carter, we're going to move on to Ariana Grande real quick. Ariana Grande did not hold back about her belief in demons in an interview with Complex in 2013. According to some, fear of demons is a typical Florida thing. We all know about Florida. But the pop singer chose to discuss a particular experience that took place in Kansas at the Stoll Cemetery. Not Skull, not Skull, Stoll Cemetery, which I think they missed out on the opportunity to call it Skull Cemetery. Seemed a little more fitting. Anyway, that's just me. Rumored to be one of the 8 earthly portals to hell. So Grande recalls smelling sulfur in the car on the way there, which according to her is the sign of a demon. And then seeing 3 distinct faces in the background of a photo that she took to try and see the ominous feelings that she'd been picking up on. She claims to have later seen a big black mass and red demonic flashes.
Okay, so something's wrong with that. if I know anything, according to the movie Blade, if you smell sulfur, it's vampires,
Could be vampires,
not
right?
demons.
And to be honest with you, the red demonic flashes, that makes sense too. Could be a vampire. I think she saw a vampire. I don't think that she saw a demon.
Oh. Do you think
And
vampires do
Florida-
exist?
Yes, and they're all in Florida.
And they're all okay.
See, the thing about it is they want you to believe that they can't go out in the sunlight. No, dude, they love the sunlight, and that's where they relocate is to Miami, Florida. And that is why Betty White is a vampire, and that's why she's still alive after all this time.
I've been to Miami, Florida.
I have too.
So that's when you see all the lavish cars and Bugattis and Lamborghinis.
Yep.
Such an amazing time.
It's like another country down there, dude. It's crazy. We were the only people that spoke English.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yep.
Miami, Florida?
Yeah, man. That is where a lot of Cubans like to go to Miami. And that is a fact. In fact, I went down to a wedding with my buddy Robert probably like 10 years ago. We drove to Miami. That sucked because Miami is like the very tip of Florida, like all the way at the bottom. And so it took forever to get there. And it's not like our trips to Disney World where we drive to Orlando. Like Miami is forever away. But we drove to the wedding in Florida for our friend, and the wedding was not in English because everyone there spoke Spanish. So we were the only white guys that were there, and we're just kind of like, do you know what they're saying? Nope. Do you know what they're saying? Nope. And it was so funny because everybody like picked on us because of it, and we thought it was hilarious. We had a great time, and like the whole time they were like the whole wedding was in Spanish. It was a beautiful wedding.
Yeah.
And we just kind of sat there and was like, do you know where they're at? When do they say the vowels? Where did you understand what they said? I don't know what they said. I failed Spanish, so
right, yeah.
I didn't. There was no hope for me.
Uh,
But anyway, yes, Miami is where that is where the Golden Girls takes place. It all comes back around. That is why Betty White is still alive, is because she is a vampire and she has drained the life force out of Blanche and Sophia and Dorothy.
you know what movie I watched last night?
Yes, sir. What did you watch?
Once Bitten. Have you seen that?
Oh yeah, no, I haven't seen it, but I know what you're talking about.
Classic movie. You need to watch. Okay, so after this, you need to watch Once Bitten, and you need to watch The Dirt.
Okay. Yep.
Count
I'll
on
get
it.
queued up.
Oh.
Love vampire movies.
So right, yeah. So who can deny vampires? I wish they would come out and consider zombies. I'm tired of zombies now.
A little burnt out on.
Yeah. So Meatloaf. Everybody's heard of Meatloaf, right?
Yeah, I love meatloaf. Very tasty. It goes well with mashed potatoes and gravy, with a side of string beans and some mutton corn. I think that goes well. I think it's a great Thanksgiving dish. We got Thanksgiving coming up.
Yeah.
Oh, you're talking about the artist. Sorry, my bad.
But the food,
Continue.
but the food Meatloaf is awesome with ketchup. Have you had it with?
It is very tasty. Yes.
Oh God, same thing with eggs and ketchup. Like a butter dish, you know. So okay, so Meatloaf, the artist, not the food. He insisted that a paranormal encounter during the recording of his classic album "Bad Out of Hell 1," like the haunting of Alice Cooper's the "I Would Do Anything for Love" singer claims that while he and producer Todd Rundgren were staying in upstate New York to work. Okay, so I'm okay. Give me the. I'm going to give you the time. 1 hour and 11 minutes.
Got it. Yeah.
Okay, so I totally messed
Yeah,
up
I got you.
because I can hear myself.
Very good.
I don't know why. So, okay, take 2.
I got you.
Okay, so Meatloaf. Oh yeah. So Meatloaf insists that he had a paranormal encounter during the recording of his classic album, "Bad Out of Hell." Like the haunting of Alice Cooper, the "I Would Do Anything for Love" singer claimed that while he and the producer Todd Rundgren were staying in upstate New York to work with him on the record, he saw a ghostly looking woman in white. And I went, oh man, Todd, hey man, that's Todd Rundgren's groupie. As a joke. Yeah. Uh, so he explained that the 70s rock run on the TV show The Haunting of, as the
I
encounter,
used to watch
right, yeah, as the encounter became more intrusive, and one tip ripped the sheets off his bed, the singer admits he takes sleeping pills out of fear. Okay. So
that. Good lord.
in essence, I didn't
Yeah.
understand the whole thing. That was weirdly worded. But
It was. Sorry.
basically, but that's fine. But so basically, Meatloaf, the singer, not the food, saw an apparition, and he said, "Hey man, that must be my producer's groupie," as a joke, right? So
Yep.
and then
Not the groupie.
uh and then once the encounter became more and more, uh, he tripped and ripped on one of the sheets of his bed. Right, that's what I'm getting.
Yep.
Okay, yeah. So,
Yep.
well, I
And
mean,
then took a bunch of sleeping pills just to
out of
calm himself
fear.
down, which is dangerous. It's very dangerous
Oh
to do.
yeah,
That's how
yeah,
people OD
yeah.
die by taking sleeping pills. So
Yeah,
be
don't do
careful with
that.
that.
Don't
Don't
do
do
that.
it out of fear. Just go for a walk or something, man. Get out, take it easy. Don't take a bunch of sleeping pills
No, that's
to calm yourself down.
especially if it's prescriptive. You don't want to take any prescriptive medication.
No, no, sir. No,
Prescription
sir.
pills are a lot more dangerous than what people think. They're a lot more
Yeah, they did. Yeah,
strong,
they're
you know.
very scary.
So
Yeah. Well, cool.
yeah, man. So that's
So,
it,
fun
man.
ghost stories.
That's it.
Yeah, fun ghost
So,
stories.
what did you think about all these ghost stories? You think that they're all believable or no?
You kind of have to think about the people that told the stories, and you know, are they stories of years and years and years ago, like when they were in their partying phases? Like, were they tripping on some drugs? Were they drunk? You know, all that could have been going on. A lot of that factored in. A lot of people we talked about was like people who were notorious for partying.
Right.
So,
Right.
I mean, you kind of have to like think about that. Some of the stories, though, especially the Houdini, all the stuff about the Houdini mansion. I was a little late. I think that those are a little bit more believable because there are several encounters. Now, again, granted, you might go into it thinking something is going to happen just because you've heard all the stories about, oh, well, the Houdini mansion is very haunted, so be careful, and you're gonna notice things or whatever.
Right.
But I think stuff like this happens. If you want my personal opinion, if you're wanting Brosley's personal opinion on ghosts, I do believe in ghosts. I really do. I mean that wholeheartedly. I do believe in ghosts. Um, I don't think they're always sinister. I do think that if you are encountering something that is sinister, I don't think it's a ghost. I think because I also believe in demons, so I think you have to be really careful with that. I think if you go around looking for demons, you're probably going to get some demons, which is why I will not play with the Ouija board. And I think you're just opening up a
Doorway.
port
Yeah.
and a straight up doorway for the devil himself to come inside when you do that kind of stuff. In fact, on Not Religious, we did an episode 2 years ago. It was a Halloween episode where Brian told a story about him playing with the Ouija board when he was in high school, and all the crazy stuff that happened as a result of it. And so, yes, I do think that stuff is real. But I don't always think that they're a bad thing. Like the Kendrick Lamar thing. Okay, what if it wasn't a ghost? What if it was just he had a dream that Tupac Shakur
Right.
appeared to him and was like, "Keep doing what you're doing."
Yeah.
Even if that didn't happen, even if it wasn't Tupac's ghost coming to him and doing that, regardless, Kendrick Lamar had some type of experience that inspired him to just keep going when maybe he was feeling like he should stop. So, I don't know. I think things like happen, and I think things like that could happen whether they're subconscious or maybe it was Tupac's ghost that really came to him and was like, "Hey, dude, you're doing a great job, and you're inspiring a lot of people in this new generation of hip hop artists and fans. Keep doing what you're doing." I think Kendrick Lamar is the Tupac of our time.
Right.
I also believe that Tupac Shakur is still alive, but that's for another episode.
What's
Anyway,
he? Man, he's in Cuba.
he's in Cuba. He's hanging out. He's drinking. He's drinking some
Margarita?
drinks with
Biggie.
who else? No, I think Biggie's dead. I
Yeah.
think Biggie. If Biggie didn't live through the shooting, he would have died from a heart attack or something.
Okay.
Uh, but who is it? Maybe Elvis. I think Elvis would be dead now if Elvis wasn't.
Yeah. Yeah, I've
If he
heard a
didn't
lot
die.
of. I've heard a lot of rumors and speculation that he's still alive. Because
He
it's
could
Elvis.
be.
I mean, yeah, but he would be like what, like 90 something years old right now, or like
He could
80s
be.
or late 80s.
If
Something.
Tupac is alive, he's probably hanging out with Avril Lavigne, the original Avril Lavigne.
Oh
Not
yeah,
her replacement. You ever heard about that? That's a
yeah,
crazy story too. There's
yeah. I
this
did hear about that.
weird theory before we close the show out. There's a weird theory that Avril Lavigne actually died after her first album came out, and the second album was her replacement, who just happened to look a lot like her. And the record company didn't want to take the chance of losing a bunch of money because their star was now dead. So they brought in this uh, basically a stand in who just kind of took over her life.
Right.
Totally different story for another episode. Maybe one day we'll do music conspiracy theories because I love a good conspiracy
There
theory
you go.
too.
There you
But hey,
go.
we'll get to that.
So Blake, why don't you tell us about the mental health minute, sir?
Okay.
If you have
Yeah.
it right there with you.
I've got it right here. So today's mental health minute. Why not experiment with a new recipe, write a poem, paint, or try a Pinterest project? Creative expression and overall well-being are linked. I recently told you that I started drawing again. That's been great.
Yeah.
I kind of fell off of it this week just because I've been really busy, but it's very relaxing for me to get back into drawing. I'm not very good at cooking, but I would like to improve on that. I've got a bunch of recipes that I save on Pinterest that one day I'll get around to trying. But I'm also not much of a poetry guy. When it comes to poetry or writing song lyrics, that's not my thing. But I totally respect people who do that type of stuff because I think that's just a creative part of your brain that not a lot of people can access. So more power to you. But I did find something. I went digging on because it in particular it said a Pinterest project. And my wife stays on Pinterest constantly finding recipes and little projects and stuff. But I found something that was called 14 activities that will improve your mental health. It is by the user Flavor and Joy. You can find her on Pinterest for that 14 activities that will improve your mental health and more stuff. She posts stuff like that a good bit. So go give that a shot.
I know for one activity that I really loved doing way back in the day was painting. I took a painting 2 years ago maybe, and I have like
Yeah.
about like 10 or 12 paintings I need to show you. But yeah, but anybody can learn how to paint. I mean, it doesn't matter if you paint real good or paint real well. It's just a matter of
Yeah.
if, just do it. Maybe it'll give you some satisfaction that you haven't felt before.
Right.
That's always a great thing. So.
Yeah.
So we just want to thank you for listening to our show today. Please share this with your friends and family. We are available on multiple podcast apps, including Apple Podcasts. And please be sure to leave a rating and review to see if you would like to see our podcast grow in the future. We'll read your reviews on the show, just like the one that Blake will read here to you now.
All right. So we have a review here from Rain 2225. They said, every day I wake up and I pour myself a hearty cup of Joe. I love coffee. I walk over to my phone and turn on my favorite podcast in the galaxy. So not the world. We're not in their favorite region, in the galaxy.
Galaxy.
So we're putting a favorite podcast in the galaxy. What a huge honor. Thank you. When words fail, music speaks is the best thing for anyone. Anyone is what Rain 2225 says. Thank you, Rain 2225. That was very sweet. Also, we have one from MPH 1997 that said that the show is awesome and also said James is cool. So not me, just James.
Nothing.
Just like the other person said that they love what James is doing, but not necessarily what I'm doing. I am actually a hindrance. Now I know that James is cool and I am not. But it's fine. I accepted that. That's one of the things I'll be hashing out in therapy coming up. I will let them know that James is cool, but Blake is not.
But you're not, right? So, but I love you, dude.
Love you, man. I think you're cool too. It's cool.
It's cool.
You're cool. I'm cool. We're all cool. It's great.
We're all cool. So, so the best. It's okay. It's okay. I love you. And so does Allie. Allie loves you. She married you.
She doesn't think I'm cool. What?
Yeah, she married you, man. You know.
Yeah. She's bound by legal terms to think I'm cool.
There you go.
I guess.
Yeah, I will. Yeah, I guess too. Right. So, so the best way to keep up with us is to follow us by our social media on Instagram, When Words Fail Podcast, Facebook, WWFMS Podcast, Twitter at When Words Fail MS. You can also email us on email. Obviously, right.
Obviously.
On When Words Fail Podcast at gmail.com. We're on YouTube where you can see this video right here on youtube.com/When Words Fail Music Speaks. We're on TikTok also, When Words Fail Music Speaks. Website is whenwordsfailmusicspeaks.com, and I will link to our merchandise below.
Hey.
That's one thing I don't think, I mean, it is what it is. You just click the link and it'll take it right there. We have shirts, masks, laptop bags, kids' clothes, stickers, I think, right? We got stickers there too, I think, yeah.
I think there's stickers, yeah. Oh, we know what we should do next year? We should have Halloween, we should have When Words Fail Music Speaks Halloween candy bags that you can give your little trick-or-treaters and let them take it around and fill up their candy bags, and then they can get a bunch of cavities. Please don't sue us for any medical expenses.
We'll make you sign a waiver.
Yeah, well, there's a little waiver included inside the. Make sure you pull that out and you sign it.
Before
we're not held liable.
Before you hit add to cart, we'll make it sign like a waiver. So you won't get anything from us. All you get is like a C4 and like protein powder. That's
Again,
so
I might give you a LaCroix because these are pretty pricey in this household. But it's podcaster salary.
That's right.
Anyway, you can find me on the Instagram and Twitter. I post pretty regularly on the Instagram. I'm trying to get better about my Twitter. I am at Blake_Mosley, Mosley. I'm on YouTube, youtube.com/Mosley with 3 Ys, Mosleyyyy. And I'm also on TikTok. That is at Blake Brosley. Still has no follow-up to the video I did before. But hey, I'm going to Disney World next week. Might make a TikTok while I'm at Disney, right? Guess we'll have to see.
You'll be in a happy place on Earth, dude.
That's right. I'll have to make some kind of happy TikTok from the happiest place on Earth celebrating Halloween.
But not in the galaxy. That's our podcast. Our podcast
Yeah.
is the best thing.
Maybe Galaxy's Edge, but
Maybe.
Hollywood. Anyway, so sources for this episode come from rollingstone.com, loudwire.com, and alternative press. We do not own any of the music used in this episode, and no copyright infringement is intended. James, take us out.
So thank you for listening, and always remember, when words fail,
Music speaks, and happy Halloween, everybody.
bye guys. I heard your dog.
You heard Penny? Yeah.